What's up, everybody? It's Jacob. Thanks for coming out. Saturday night, AI live from an undisclosed location near Denver, Colorado in the Rocky Mountains. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay. I talked into the mute button, so I know it's off. But anyway, hope all your all's week went all right. I had quite a few calamities this week. Just seemed like a lot of electronics just decided to fail in the last week. Had a hard drive, some weird shit with smart house stuff, and yeah, weird computer issues, things like that. So I don't know. Just one of those weeks. It's been a weird week, but the job's going all right. Still doing the part-time job, looking for full-time work, and it's still rough out there. I don't know if I told you guys, but yeah, I even though I'm doing the part-time work, I'm still just barely treading water. So I'm still looking for a job with more hours and more pay, and they are not hurting for choice. If you don't fit one thing, they're like, nope, sorry, moving on. So it's tough out there. So I hope you all are having better luck than I am. But anyway, let's see. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. And let's see who's come out early tonight. We got Lisa. Thanks for coming out. And we got 07, in which, by the way, 07, I know you're pretty regular. And Lisa, you're pretty regular. I don't know if you want me to wrench you up, but I'd be more than glad to make you guys moderators. Just let me know. I'm just looking for a couple more to kind of fill the gap there. But yeah, we got a really big video tonight on a topic. So here we go. Yes, there we go. So welcome to the machine, everybody. So yeah, I found a really interesting video on a gentleman who's a mathematician, and he started a company that's, I think the company is called Stable Diffusion, but it's also the technology called Stable Diffusion, which is a very common method used to generate images with AI. And for lack of a better scientific explanation, you break things into parts and then add a bunch of static, and then slowly move the static and put the parts back together. It's a lot more complicated than that. There's a lot more math, but there's just a lot. It's a trick of kind of like marble, and then chipping away David out of the marble is kind of the most common way I can think, or simplified way I can describe it, but it is a little more complicated than that. But anyway, welcome to the machine. And I think later on tonight I might it's sort of my community duty to show you how to do things with AI. I'm going to show you a little bit of how I made this thumbnail. It's actually not as easy as you would think, where a lot of people, they just go into AI and they type in, oh, give me an image that's based off the album The Wall, which is, if you're older, that's what that is. A 1983 movie that was really popular when I was 13 years old. Hey, teacher, right? But anyhow, there's been a lot of talk about getting back to what this mathematician, his idea of what he's trying to build is AI that benefits society. And a couple of things that he talks about that I agree, but I wasn't really sure like how somebody would solve it. And it seems like this gentleman's really thought quite extensively in how to address a couple things. And one of the things that I don't think is going to work, that they always kind of drop, is UBI, Universal Basic Income. So the idea is, if all the AIs come in, take the jobs eventually, we had the steam engines remove human strength from the economy or from productivity. And now with AI, we're removing human intelligence. And some of his ideas on actually like how dramatic the removal of that intelligence is going to be, is going to cause a lot of economic pressures on the way we borrow money. And because of that, UBI is not going to work. That's just one thing that he talks about. So I will, we'll get to that in a little bit, but we'll have a little bit of fun, wait for more folks to show up. Oh, hey, Timmy, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing all right. I'm glad to see you. Thanks for coming out tonight. Let's see. He says that I'm reading Michael Connelly's latest novel about the dangers of AI. Awesome read. is that like a science fiction or a dystopic author, or is that like a like a sociology kind of thing? Just curious because I've not heard of that gentleman, but I'm not very well read either, so don't rely on me to recommend a book. Yeah, so we'll the gentleman is Emad Mostaque, and again, he was a mathematician and he worked a lot with early AI technology, and he's spun off. Oh, the Lincoln Lawyer author. Okay, cool. Thanks, Timmy. I appreciate that. And some of his ideas of how AI is going to come in and wreck the economy, basically, but his idea of how we can fix that, but also make AI work for us, not the powers that be, but for us, the regular individuals. So looking forward to kind of sharing that with you. Very interesting interview. But first, let's look at some freaky robots, right? I love robots. So let me see here. Which window is this that I'm looking at? Oh yeah, here we go. Too many browser windows. But just sort of in the theme of tonight's video, welcome to the machine. Welcome to your new king, I suppose. That was unnecessary. With the muscles. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you some other things that they're doing with robots and how they move and how they work in the environment. So I'm going to show you a couple more things here. But I'm seeing a lot of these like bipedal robots where it's just the bottom half. And there was always, the joke in Doctor Who that the Daleks, they couldn't go up the stairs to chase you. And then, of course, there was like an episode years ago where they finally got around that. But we, for the large part, robots really had a hard time going upstairs. But I think they're solving this problem pretty lickety-split. Guess you won't have to buy 2 robots, one for each floor. But what's interesting about that is you'll notice the wheels, right? And then they had feet. Kind of interesting on that one. But yeah, all of that above there, that's just the power. Kind of interesting there. All right, let's see. Slowly ramp it up. And then, and these things really aren't useful. I'm going to show you things that we'll start getting into more utility here, but I just kind of want to show you like all the goofy things that researchers are doing. A lot of this is in China, by the way. So check out this bike. I don't know why you'd want this bike to do this, but they're doing it. Hey, you're too lazy to do your own BMX. Little bit of 9 Inch Nails in there. All right. And actually, I think that last one was in the States, but this event is definitely somewhere in Asia. But check out all these different robots. That's too loud for y'all. Yeah. Oh, I have to click it to get my view. No, I'm just kidding. All right. All right, so now we're getting into more useful applications. So I've played a lot of these videos of these dog robots, and this is an application I've not seen before. And if you know anything about this is a fire dog. So they put a fire hose in the back of it, and it goes closer to the flames and extinguishes the flames. But if you have ever seen human firefighters, one of the things that they test them is that, can you stand there and hold the damn thing with, 2 or 3 other dudes? Or sometimes they don't tell the rookie and just let the rookie flick around. So I'm kind of curious how they address that with this little dog. Because, I mean, you don't want to add more weight to a robot unnecessarily, because that's just going to take more power, right? So let's kind of see what they do here. Let me crank this down. It's a little loud. All right. So I guess it lays down. Okay. Interesting. And then ironically they have the robot with the flamethrower on the other side of the hill setting the fire. All right. I think this is another one of the fighting dog going into a building here. Let's see if they have it going upstairs. I know these things can go upstairs. Crazy. And then here's one that I saw that's a new kind of way to deliver things, but this is like more of a high trust society thing. I'm not sure that this would last very long in the States, but check this out. The food just sits in these boxes, and then I guess when it gets on the other end, the person like is responsible enough to take out their own food or what they ordered. You know, we don't live in as high of a trust society in the States, I don't think, for something like this to really work at scale. It's a lot of LiDAR on the top there just for a little vehicle. Anyway, oh, I'm getting famous. All right, close these down. That'll be our video for the main event for later on here. Let's see. Let me show you a few more things. Let's go more military here. I'm trying out a new layout here with shorts, because sometimes these videos they're vertical, but they're recorded on a regular YouTube video. It's kind of annoying. So I'm just trying to figure out how to get these to like all play along nicely. But anyway, here's a soldier robot apparently. So let's see what's going on here. That's going to be loud.
And the machines rose from the ash nuclear fire.
Oh, AI, of course, AI.
And a war to destroy humanity began.
Please. I don't know. It kind of looks like more he has to take a dump more than he's trying to shoot somebody, the way that robot's walking. Yeah, Timmy, this is true. So many changes since the year 2000. The mainstream internet and cell phones. It has definitely ruined most women in society. Yeah, it's definitely given a lot of people a voice that in the old days would have never had a voice. And I don't just mean like women, but just like idiots. Just people they'd throw in the insane asylum now have just as a lot of voice as anybody else. Yeah, I don't know. I think we need to start bringing back asylums. But anyway, not a popular opinion, but what are you gonna do? All right, so here's another military robot. Now this one I think is where they try to disorient it. Wait, why did you do that? Go back. There we go. Still shot the fire or fired the shot. Yeah, I don't know how much of this is real. Not fully vetted. Not fully vetted. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Especially with Sora 2 these days, who knows? I didn't really check, so I might have to make sure before I start playing these next time. But here now we're seeing. I mentioned The robot dogs with flamethrower, and then we had one putting out fires. Now we're mounting weapons on them. That's loud. I'm gonna mute that. Pretty wild. But yeah, that's the perfect application of that. It goes in first and just clears the room, and then throws you a high five after a good job done. Crazy. Then I think there's a there's one yeah, and then here's them deploying a whole bunch of them. These ones don't move very fast, but I showed one last week that had a gas combustion engine, and it could go 20 miles an hour. And I think I have, yes. So this one I have a bipedal robot ran 100 meters, like it broke a record for another robot, not for a human, but for other robots. It's still a little wonky, but check out. I mean, this thing was booking. It was pretty fast. Got ahead of itself. Yeah, I don't think Uwe Bolls, or I'm sorry, that's the filmmaker, but the guy, the Hussein Bolt. Thank you. Jeez, that's my Swiss cheese brain kicking in tonight. All right, so let's step this up. Now we have a robot dog with a machine gun versus a drone. That's pretty much how this is gonna go. It's like no one on the battlefield, just weapons killing each other. Yeah, here you go. 07. No truer words have ever been spoken. All this, and we still have burnt toast and microwaves with the 1982 beeping noises. Yeah, it's true. Very, very true. And then some dude, he 3D printed a like this spider walking thing that shoots these. I mean, they're like little hobby missiles, but the damn thing flies too. Oh, there was a cut there. I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, and this is just a guy doing it for a hobby. All right. So, nation states, what do you got? All right. Last
It's a four-legged rowboat dog armed with an AI-enabled rifle being tested at a U.S. Army counter-drone exercise. The rowboat, known as the Vision 60 QUGV, was developed by Ghost Robotics and features a small turret holding an AR-15 type rifle, a targeting system, and a GoPro-like camera mounted on its body. The exercise...
Yeah, that is not a... This is totally AI like voiceover, a GoPro camera. But anyway.
Part of Operation Hard Kill aimed to explore the capabilities of this robotic system in identifying and destroying unmanned aerial vehicles.
See, just like that video we watched to evade dog robots a couple weeks ago. You just grab it and pull the battery out, right?
This initiative is part of the Defense Department's broader Replicator initiative, which seeks to field thousands of autonomous systems across various warfighting domains. This video shows...
Crazy. All right. So I think everybody that's going to roll in has rolled in. So we'll do the main event tonight. So let's check this out here. The gentleman that is, this is Tom Bilyeu, pretty big channel, 4.6 million subscribers, but he's interviewing Emad Mostaque, the mathematician I was mentioning earlier. This, yeah, it's pretty interesting, his ideas on how he wants AI to benefit society. Well, anyway, we'll play it. Fair use YouTube. I'm transforming this work with my commentary.
Position.
No.
Let me start that
I mean,
over.
what's the definition of capitalism?
I think I got in the middle of something here. There we go. Sorry.
Let me ask point blank. Do you think capitalism survives the AI transition?
No. I mean, what's the definition of capitalism?
Strictly speaking?
Yeah.
I can give you a colloquial definition, the aggregation of capital to build something that is a self-sustaining economic engine.
Yeah. Will AI be able to do that better than humans?
Yes.
Capitalism as it is going to be great for AIs. But how are we going to compete? Again, how do you compete with entities that are strictly smarter than you? And this is without getting to AGI or ASI or anything like that.
That's a really important point, by the way, pausing for fair use too. But he's talking about narrow AI, what we have today, in copious amounts. So that's ChatGPT and the newer agents that can run autonomously, which as of late last month, the longest an AI agent could run by itself without any human intervention and near perfect is 30 hours. Okay. And last May, the longest one could run was about 4.5-5 hours. All right. So we're hockey sticking, folks. Anyway, let's continue onward.
That learn perfectly from their mistakes, never sleep. You can't tell it's an AI on the other side of the screen. I don't see how. Again, they'll figure out the micro to the macro better than we can, allocate capital better. I mean, it's like, let's take a practical example you know a lot about, Tom. Launching a protein bar. You know? How long did that process take? And how long do you think it's going to take in a couple of years to do it end to end, calling all the suppliers, arranging all the contracts, etc.? It took years. Whereas you'll be able to spin up 1 million agents hitting the exact niche, doing A/B testing, doing all the supply contracts and other things remotely, probably within like months, you know?
Yeah.
And that's only because of this human bits stopping it.
Yeah. So he's, by the way, he's of the camp that I think we only have like 1,000 days before agents become so prevalent and so good that human work will be, it's a little aggressive. I don't necessarily agree with that because today we're still working out all the slop that AI is generating now, where the companies, they move forward and try to get rid of people and replace them with AI. There's still a lot of mess from that we have to clean up. We also have energy shortage. And at the rate the AI is growing, we're probably going to have some chip issues too. So I don't know. I think that's a little aggressive, but you kind of see where the guy's coming from. But I don't doubt the long term of what he's saying, that yes, AI is going to eventually push everybody out. And I don't know if I've really delineated it like this for you, but I have talked a lot about how the entry-level jobs will be, all the busy basic work, which is a lot of what he's talking about here, gone, right? Especially entry-level work. And then I talk about the high-level white-collar jobs. So that's like coding, knowledge work. But there's also another part of that, and that's the CEOs. I don't know if he'll talk about it in this video. I've seen him in other interviews where basically we're going to see companies that are run by AI. And I think, I think it's Zuckerberg, Elon, and somebody else have a bet going. Sam Altman from OpenAI have a bet when the first AI-driven company, the first AI unicorn, which is $1 billion company, will happen. So basically one person running all the AIs or orchestrating all the AIs. So yeah, I don't know how much the bet is, but they're pretty confident it's going to happen, soon. And this guy's in that same camp. So anyway, the first wave is what we're all experiencing now. All the entry level jobs, all the stuff that narrow AI can do really easily. We're already in it. First wave's happening now. Second wave is going to be, and this is the schadenfreude that I have, the CEOs And the upper level management are going to start losing their jobs because the AIs can do the agents that he's talking about, the ones that can run autonomous. Earlier, I mentioned they could only go about 30 hours, but from back in like, what was it? I said May, but I think it was more like March, April. They could only go 4.5, 5 hours. So just in what is that, like a 6-month period, a 5-month period, we already like nearly 10x the amount of time they could run by themselves. So if you have an AI that could run an entire month, a company as a CEO, those fools are going to lose their jobs too. So that's the second wave. Third wave is going to be the trades, the blue collar stuff, the stuff with physical AI, automation, and robots. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify that because that's where he's coming from, and why I'm interested in what this guy's saying, because I think the same thing too. But anyway, that was my fair use squirrel. Let's get back to the video.
All the thinking that you had to do, the AI will probably do in less than a day. And so again, I think capitalism doesn't survive for humans, and the AI will accumulate more and more capital because there's no way we can outcompete them.
So given that we are already in an environment where people are becoming increasingly violent due to the uncertainty of their economic future,
Luddites.
I've always said that I believe in the transition there will be pockets of violence. What do you see that like? Do you see it breaking very bad? Do you see it, this will be a managed transition? Like, how do you think through this problem?
Well, I mean, where have you seen instances of the nature of capital stock, social contracts, and more be displaced? You see it in things like post-World War I Germany, don't you?
This is interesting.
Whereby the economic heart of Germany was ripped out due to reparations and others, and what emerged? You have disorder, so people look for people that can bring in order. This is kind of Hayek's road to serfdom. It's a central planning thing. It's the work programs. It's the people that say, give up your liberty so I can give you comfort, so I can give you security.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. What he's gonna eventually lay out is basically gonna be a socialist utopia, like a Star Trek version of it. And yeah, 07, creative destruction, bro. Totally. Yeah. So you have and the way debt moves around, the way debt's created with the Federal Reserve banking system is going to break too, because of the way money has to follow human work, human productivity. So if that human productivity goes away, how does the debt system work? And another thing that a lot of people don't know about the Federal Reserve or the laws in banking is that when that debt swap happens, and the bank gets their not cash, but numbers go up on their ledger, and the Fed suddenly has bonds to sell that match that, the bank can then go out and lend 10 times the amount of that money that was put on their ledger. Think about that. 90% of the money being created out of thin air is based on nothing. That's a scary, scary thought. But that worked for a while because you always had human effort, human productivity that chased that debt. So yeah, he has some interesting ideas on that. Let me give your brains a rest here, and we'll go into the chat a little bit. So let's see, Timmy has, whoops. Did I click? Yep, sorry. Scrolled up on me. He says, I've been a realtor the last 40 years. Monster changes just in the last decade via technology. My next job will be cutting grass at a golf course, lol. Yeah, I don't think it would be a bad idea to be able to, pick up a drill and know how to use it, or do some kind of something with your hands, just, so you have that ability to do that. I don't think that would be a bad idea. I picked up a little bit of carpentry, a little bit of electrical knowledge, but, just enough to electrocute myself in a wet bucket. Yeah. 07, Bank of International Settlements. Tokenization scheme might be worthy of discussing sometime. He's going to he has a solution for that. And of course, he has his own cryptocurrency for that. That's what his logo is on his shirt. I think it's the Foundation coin. But speaking of which, yeah, BTC like took a massive shit last couple of days. So my mentor, who's a real cynical pit trader, has been trading for years and years. He believes that BTC is a portend for the major stock market. So every time it takes a dump, it's usually anywhere between 2 weeks to about 6 weeks that the stock market's going to do the same thing. So that might be the AI bubble bursting. Who knows? Anyway, not financial advice. So let's get back to the video here and see how he lays out how capitalism is going to work in the new. Oh, I'm sorry, I squirreled. I wanted to talk about that. He's basically laying out socialism, right? The Star Trek kind, where everybody's going to have purpose by pursuing, all their hobbies or whatever, or go into space and conquer space or something. But, in order to have that Star Trek utopia, two things have to happen. One, you have to have unlimited energy, and we've got energy problems right now. And I don't think we're going to solve that energy shortage anytime soon, let alone come up with something innovative at scale that's going to, take us to like the next, phase in civilization kind of thing, like this guy's going to suggest. So I'm a little hesitant on that aspect to it. And the other thing is no money, right? Because you don't have human productivity chasing capital or using the capital. So, there are computers in Star Trek. They don't really call it AI, but the computers do a lot, right? They do a lot of the thinking, and a lot of the work for the humans. It's not really in the forefront of Star Trek, but it is there. So anyway, yeah, socialist Star Trek utopia is what this guy's talking about. But anyway, let's continue on. Yes, a leading indicator. Interesting. Yeah, 07. That's something that he stood by. For since he started trading it back in 2012, I think it's when he jumped in. All right, back to the video.
Hobbes's Leviathan, effectively. So I think that you'll get more and more people acting up. You'll see more and more people moving towards legal stuff. But we have to remember that government, and one definition of government that's very good, is the entity with the monopoly on the legitimate use of violence.
That's pretty good.
And so even if people act up and they say where are our jobs? Where's the support? Ban the AI and other things like that.
And also who mints the coin.
The power centers will be using AI to keep their capital going up.
Mm-hmm.
The power brokers will be the ones with the most GPUs, effectively. And that's going to cause a big disconnect in society, because a private company, particularly someone like in America, isn't obligated to hire anyone. Their fiduciary responsibility is to the shareholders and the owners of capital.
Yep.
And so it makes sense to get rid of most of the humans.
Yep.
Because AIs are tax deductible and humans aren't, Like, AIs are more effective. So,
and by the way, he doesn't talk about it, but corporations have personhood. They actually own the assets that are under that corporation. So under personhood, they have certain rights. And I'm wondering how long it's going to get to where the line blurs between the AI and a corporation, and by that they extend the personhood to the AI, which owns the assets, i.e. capital, real estate, vehicles, you name it, pencils, paper, all that stuff, right? Anyway, let's get back to the video.
So I think that you will get low-level violence. The thing that is the scariest thing is, do you get mass polarization, particularly those that are motivated by political interests?
You already
at a large scale. We haven't seen mass. Like, again, when we look at uprisings, civil war type things,
like Nepal burning their own parliament, or France rioting in the streets, and this is all yesterday.
you can go way higher than that. I used to be an emerging market hedge fund manager. I've seen proper coups and kind of other things like that. When the big power structures change, they take advantage of the people underlying. And again, that mechanism of transmission can be even better now to do this. So I think that hopefully we don't get to that point, but when the pie shrinks, because the stuff left over from the owners of the GPUs and capital is going to get smaller and smaller, people are going to compete for capital and power. And again, it's the manipulation of the masses that's the most dangerous thing, but also the discontent of the masses is it's the tinder to which the fire can be applied, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's very optimistic of you to say low levels of violence.
I said today.
Yeah. So if you think of profit as essentially the answer to, I don't have anything else to apply my money to, will we see those kinds of profits occur in the future, or are we going to see a natural contraction of the tax basis because you'll always be able to buy more compute to make your company basically a little bit smarter? So there's now no longer that upper bound to what you would be able to intelligently spend money on.
Yeah. So again, the argument for personhood for AI, so the governments can start taxing the AIs, right? And then we also have, on top of that, we have our population or our birth gap issue where people are just not having babies like they used to for various reasons I won't get into, but it's established. So your tax base is shrinking that way. We've got the boomers that are starting, they're going to start dying en masse very quickly. And so, yeah, it's AI kind of seems like this is the only way we're going to get out of this, but how we do it is really where like the big sticking point is. And so, this is the argument. Are we going to make AI benefit society, or is it going to benefit the people that try to preserve the old system that have all the capital and power now? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But anyway, we'll keep going on.
Your comparative advantage, your capital stock, is all compute in the next few years for all knowledge-based work. And so classically it was profit because you needed profit to pay for human outcomes. Because we need to have money to pay for the drink we're having or our shelter or other things. The AIs don't need that. They just need to have cash flow to fund their compute effectively. This is what
But their electricity, though, I hope he addresses that.
I call the metabolic rift, where your marginal productivity, your comparative advantage is all compute. If we look at companies like Cursor or any of these other AI companies, they hit $100 million revenue run rate faster than anything we've seen. Anyone who's kind of involved in the startup scene has seen that. Like, this is crazy, right? Like, it used to be that I think Slack was the record holder for $100 million revenue run rate. It took them 3 years, a few years ago. Now you see companies literally hit that in 3 months.
That's wild. And that's not necessarily because of the AI doing the work. It's because of the hype around AI. Wow. That's wild.
What they're playing is the Amazon game, because Amazon never made profits.
Yeah.
Like, now they make some profit, right? But Jeff Bezos realized that if he could have customers pay on day 1 and then pay suppliers on day 60,
cash flow,
he could generate massive amounts of cash flow that he could then use for other things. AI companies are the same. AI companies will never make a profit. So you can't even tax that.
Crazy.
And companies that use AI, because more and more companies that become AI companies, will never have to make a profit either. They're going to play the cash flow game. They don't need to distribute. It's a land grab.
Yeah. Powers that be won't like that. Yeah. Bad. I mean, and then the police and your firefighters maintaining roads. Not looking good, kids.
Is the best use of money paying it to your shareholders as a dividend? Or is it getting more compute to outcompete everybody else? And when that race starts, it doesn't slow down. Because when you can have that human, I can't tell it's a human on the other side of my Zoom. That's when it all kicks off, because it doesn't need new infrastructure, doesn't need anything to plug in. All of a sudden, you just have a bunch of amazing workers who can do just about anything. And that's like, again, probably in a year's time.
Okay,
So I think
how
profits
does
actually
your
drop.
profits will
Revenue.
drop?
And just so you know, this interview is just under 2 months old. All right. So you have 10 months.
I think profits drop, revenue goes up.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my read of the situation as well. I think the tax base is going to shrink. You've already given us the math on UBI. It's not really possible. I also don't think it solves the real problem of meaning and purpose. So even if we did it, it wouldn't matter. You're still going to have all the discontent. And you may just make it possible for people to be more violent because they don't have to work, but they're still pissed off. So the thing, though, I'm wondering if you've accounted for in the mathematics is people are going to fight back. So people are not just going to take this lying down. Just look at the dock workers who have, in my opinion, very foolishly put in contracts where you cannot automate the docks, which is madness. But nonetheless, like I get it from the perspective of all I care about is me and making sure that I've got a job. And so the bit of leverage that I have right now is that AI isn't ready to take over yet. And so I'm going to use that against you to forestall the inevitable as long as I can.
Yeah. Same thing happened with the writer strike. It really wasn't in the news that much, but they one of the big sticking points of the last strike was who gets the writing credit when AI is used. they fought hard on that. And let's see, ChatGPT really kind of, let's see, it launched into 2023, November 2023. But movies have, like, writing sucked for a while now. So it wasn't, I don't think AI is the reason why a lot of writing in movies sucks, but yeah, they're definitely using it a lot more now. And I'm going to show you later on some new tools that's available to Hollywood that's going to wig you out. Hollywood's cooked, basically. So that strike was the last gasp, just like for the dock workers, like you say. But you'll see when I show you the. Actually, you know what? Let's just take a break from this right now, and I'll just show you real quick what I'm talking about. Let's see here. I'll pull this up. Yeah. All right. So the state of things, like a few weeks ago or earlier this year, when the first version of Sora came out kind of around March. March 16, 2025. This guy shows you how you could just upload pictures of things that you want in the video, and then it renders everything together for you. I don't know if that's copyrighted. So yeah, I mean, it's over. I mean, it was over in March, right? But I'll show you something here in a second. Here's another one, just to show you the variety. Saint Laurent. I know I butchered that, but I'm not French, so you won't hold it against me. But here's what I'm talking about. You could just literally recast somebody in a movie. So this upper frame is from the movie 1917. I think it came out like 2020, I think. And the bottom screen, they replaced him with Brad Pitt.
You can't possibly make it that way, man. You bloody insane. What the hell are you doing, Lance Corporal? No.
I mean, now it's an Ocean's 11 movie. Yeah, now it kind of looks more like Clooney, but, you know, sneakers on the battlefield, why not, right? So, and this is the reason why, I mean, Hollywood could have done this with software and other things for years now, but this is at the level where you can do this on a home computer, is what I'm getting at, with very, very basic software, a very basic AI. So it's over. It's done for Hollywood. But anyway, let's get back to the interview here. Oh wait, I see a question in the chat here from 07. Yeah, go back to the big head. What are you saying here? Will they use AI to blackmail all? Lol. Oh, you're being sarcastic. But yeah, that was when they're talking about the powers that be concentrate power through their GPUs and capital and all that. No, I think it'll just basically be no work and probably starving you out is kind of how it's going to go. I think it's kind of how all revolutions start, really. Yeah. And do you mean infinite resources? Can you clarify on that? Because I kind of think that he's more in the camp of, he thinks like energy is infinite, or he's taking that off the board, or maybe he just thinks he's betting, like a lot of the companies in the AI world right now, that the chips are going to just keep getting faster according to Moore's law, and therefore take less electricity and less space and stuff like that. So you'll be able to stuff more in a data center. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, is that he's not accounting for energy scarcity, and that this is where my big sticking point is with him. But anyway, let's continue on, see what else. He has some interesting ideas of how we can use AI against the powers that be. So he'll get there eventually, but lots of interesting theories here.
For me, that just weakens us on an international stage, and people don't seem to have the game theoretic clarity to understand that, take China, they're just not going to play that game. And because Xi Jinping can force people to do whatever the hell he wants, that they will just continue to deploy.
Plus, they don't have any scruples about people's privacy, so they have unlimited data. Any data they want, they can train their AIs on. Whereas in the West, we have generally more scruples, but companies are breaking laws and things, but not at the scale of like what China can do, because they're 4 times bigger population too. So they just have more data in general.
So given the likelihood of people fighting back, going for regulatory capture, essentially, how do you see that playing out?
Well, that's why I said public sector jobs are great. Unionized jobs are great. Here in the UK, we just had 4 days of strikes because the railway workers, the tube workers, want 32-hour work weeks. I mean, don't we all, right? It's like the entire of the London kind of shut down. I think we will see more and more of this. And in the book, I discussed the Luddites, I discussed other things. They weren't wrong necessarily. And again, these are local maxima. Like, why does a dock worker care about the long term when he's worried about now, or when he can extract more? It's a question of relative power. But again, this is where we look at America as being more potentially disrupted than many other nations with higher public sectors. Public sector kind of recycles
something
money.
Crazy now. I'm not tracking how that statement makes any sense. So the public sector only has money because entrepreneurs generate profits.
Yeah, well, the public sector, I don't know how it works in the UK. I assume they have federal bank reserve kind of system like we do, debt swaps and all that crap. But the largest the biggest reason for our inflation today is because of the public sector. All the money that's printed for not just the people working in the public sector, but all the programs that they're paying for. So all this crap that's been going on with SNAP and all the Medicare and Medicaid because the Fed does funnel money down to all the states through Medicaid, and then there's Medicare, and there's just been every time in the news, there's more fraud, and that just means more money being printed to feed all those hungry beasts. So that's the largest reason why we have the kind of inflation we've been having. And then of course we had the lockdowns. Everybody got a little freebie here and there. And anyway, I won't rant any longer on that, but y'all were there with me. You were put down for a couple years as well, so I won't belabor that. yeah, but I might get $2,000 soon. But it's going to be from the UK, from tariffs and all that. But I'll get that $2,000 check, and I'll just put it right into my 50-year mortgage. Okay, let's get back to the video. Crazy 50-year mortgage. Damn. Interest on that's insane.
And those profits are taxed at the corporate level and at the individual level. Once corporations stop making money, this all breaks. This is a whole thing that I'm banging on about with the young people are embracing socialism, which to me is complete madness. So what do you mean? Like, even if
they haven't experienced capitalism work for them. So I don't agree with it. In fact, I hate socialism. I hate communism even more. But I've had a taste of capitalism working for me, even though, you know, I'm in the shit right now, but I got a taste of it. But the younger folks, they have no idea. They don't know that capitalism it never worked for them. So I understand where they're coming from, but it's going to be a huge mistake.
if they try to like run a coup on entrepreneurs, they're going to find that all of a sudden you can have all the private sector jobs in the world that you want, but you're going to have to fund that through deficit spending. And now you're inflating the currency into absolute oblivion. And all of a sudden you're Argentina.
Yep. And Argentina had, like, I forgot how much their public sector was an entire political class that swayed. There were so many people in the public sector in Argentina, they affected the vote. So then comes the man with the chainsaw.
And that's the transition period. So what you get when you have a very high private sector is the jobs go quicker. But it doesn't mean that you're more stable if you're a public sector based economy. Because again, you have to pay for it somehow. The jobs still start deteriorating across the entire world because they get displaced by the AI. But again, in the US, if you look at something like a dock worker, very unionized, they have protections. You know, if you look at somewhere like New York, what's the value of a New York taxi medallion going to do? I think it's been going down. They'll have protections there where, again, just like with the Uber thing, they're going to be protected against auto driving, etc.
Oh, really? Those taxi medallions, I've heard, are as expensive as $4 million. And they're like passed down generationally, or it's like its own market. And then, what was it, 4 weeks ago? I'll have to look it up. Uber, the CEO of Uber, just announced that they're going to start rolling out self-driving vehicles en masse. And they're like, well, you can still keep driving, but, you know, there's going to be more autonomous vehicles rolling out. And this was always their plan, right? I talked about this with DoorDash 2 months ago. They're rolling out their own delivery robots. And Uber, Tesla, and Waymo, which is owned by Google, all rolling out self-driving vehicles. This was always their plan. So anyway. Yeah.
What is wealth? How does it kind of circulate?
Sorry, you were looking at my big mug burping. Here we go.
And they're not going to say you have to employ young lawyers or you have to employ software developers, you know, or you have to employ maybe accountants. They'll push some things through. You need a human to sign off at the end. Because again, America is uniquely competitive. And so I just think, again, we're looking at a huge amount of mess. And the question in the future is, what is money? You know, what is wealth? How does it kind of circulate? Our current economy is based on 91% of money being inside money generated by banks in exchange for debt.
Yeah, so that's the 10x thing I was telling you about, where a bank gets $1,000 and they can loan out 10,000. It's crazy. A lot of people don't know that. So yeah, 90% of the money is just poof, nothing.
You put a deposit in, the bank generates loans based on a certain ratio, and that's how most money in the US is created. If you don't have a job, then how are you going to get a loan? You know, how does monetary supply look in the US? If the majority of economic activity suddenly switches over time to AIs, and they don't need housing, they don't need food, they don't need anything, they just need compute, where's that capital going? So I think that we have to have some real questions about what is the economy itself? How do we make sure people get what they need to survive and thrive? And how does any of this make sense? Because we need to change the overall flow of how all this works. And we don't have that much time to do it. Like, it could be 3 years, it could be 10 years, but all we know is it's inevitable, right? That you're going to get this breakdown mess, and we're trying to minimize that period of craziness. Well,
And this is going to be where the push for socialism is going to come in. I think they're going to jump on this hard. Which brings me to 07's comment: the people pushing socialism were never told that Maoist China lost 150 million people to starvation in the 50s. Yeah. And then that part too, which I probably shouldn't have read this out loud. But yeah, there's definitely AI tools now that automate a lot of that, the removal, the censorship. And I've talked about that regularly on the channel. But because I talked about that, those channels got throttled. Very few people saw them. So anyway, taxpayer money basically paid for DARPA technology that was given to Facebook, various newspaper outlets, and other social media companies, YouTube, which effectively pushed that policy across the entire world, right? If you think about that, those companies are multinational, and they also gave those tools to other newspapers around the world as well, too, to help push the narrative, especially during the, if you know what I mean. All right, let's get back to the video.
we might end up in very unpleasant things. And we have lots of sci-fi stories about that. Can we get to a pleasant environment?
Yeah, what is that bridge? Do you have a vision for how we cross this chasm?
So my concept was you need to have a capability element, which is universal AI for everyone, which is a sovereign AI that looks out for you. Because again,
Here we go.
ChatGPT is not going to look out for you or anything like that. You
ChatGPT is a commercial product.
actually need to have an AI that you own that can give you capability access, shall we say. I think that we should shift monetary supply from being at the banks to being generated by the users of the AI.
Uh-oh. We know what happens every time somebody talks against the Federal Reserve. Pop, pop. We know that. Someone better protect this guy.
Verified as humans. So that's a shift in the way that the capital flows.
So I don't think most people understand that. How would an individual create their own capital that people would treat as capital?
This is where it gets
So
tricky.
I think what you've had classically is you had a gold and then currencies linked to gold. Bretton Woods in 1972 broke that, and then we had this fiat monetary system coming in based largely on debt. What we have now is a really interesting thing because digital assets are suddenly legal in America. You know, like if you look at a year ago versus now, like there's no wonder that $150 billion has gone into digital assets this year. Next year, it's going to be even bigger. You'll see a return of ICOs. You'll see tokenized stocks. The government says put GDP on the blockchain. I'm not sure what that means, you know. So there are new ways of generating money. And I think that Bitcoin was a great precursor. We have a concept called foundation coin.
Here come the bots. They're going to come to my channel now. Don't buy any crypto from any strangers on my comment section.
Which is like Bitcoin, but it all goes to compute for societal good, organizing knowledge, giving people free AI, etc. But
Interesting.
you need two types of money. You need to have your gold type money, Bitcoin gold type thing. And I think you need a cash that's linked to that. And so we have foundation coin and we have what's called culture coins that are generated through the use of AI by humans. And
So kind of like gas on Ethereum, you know, through you're paying into this system to be able to use the blockchain. It's sort of kind of it, but it's the AIs will be using that and then paying you back. So you become the bank of you. Where have you heard that before?
the more AI
And
you
what's the
use for
difference
education,
between the two types of coins?
one is cash, one is gold. And the cash is linked to gold and redeemable against it. So we're
And
trying
why
to
not
figure out.
just make the culture coins or the foundation coin usable for either?
Here we go.
So it's the nature of them. So foundation coin
You don't get the debt swaps.
is a fork of Bitcoin, but every coin sold goes to a supercomputer for cancer, supercomputer for ASD, education, or for giving free AI to people. So
What's ASD?
autism. So organizing our collective knowledge, basically beneficial uses of compute. Because like right now, it's stupid that you get a diagnosis of cancer. Why don't you have all the knowledge at your fingertips? There's no computer organizing all that knowledge, whereas we can make that happen. We can give free AI to every person going through a cancer diagnosis, or free AI for every single thing in health once we work out the math. So we were like, that could be a positive thing because you're stacking compute for that anyway. 20% of GDP is public sector anyway, so that's probably going to be 20% of compute. And we're like, that's a good way to create your gold. So it's a version of Bitcoin, but with more benefit, shall we say. So that acts as a store of value that go up. Then we were like, you need cash for your localization. And people are looking at that in different ways. And we were like, it'd be nice if cash wasn't generated by debt. So you're issuing credit and debt every single time. Instead, it's issued for being human. Because the only way I can see it, and this is where some of the more advanced UBI proposals come in, if you're taxing the AI companies, they will never make a profit. The entire tax base of the corporate sector in the US is less than $1 trillion. And like I said, poverty level UBI is $5 trillion.
Yeah, so he's the only person that I've ever seen this go, yeah, UBI is not going to work. Because everybody else is like trying to drop that as like, oh, we'll just use that as a Band-Aid until everybody transitions to the new thing. But yeah, it's just not going to work. Oops, what? Hello. Clicking on too many things. Here we go. Back to the video. Oh, hey, Baddie Commander. Welcome tonight. And I don't know what's going on, but now my OBS is not seeing the chats, so I can't highlight them in the live stream. But anyway, such is life. Probably because we were mentioning the monetary system. Here we go.
You should change monetary issuance for being human effectively. That's the only way that we could see out of this. And if you give everyone a free AI, it makes it a lot easier to do that, to verify they're human as they interact with the health services, education services, financial services. This is still a work in progress. Like, we figured out how to do the Bitcoin equivalent because that's easy. But we're like, the way money enters the economy, circulates in the economy, needs to change. And we need to really think about how that happens.
This is where it gets trippy.
Humans still need to have shelter. They still need to have food. And we need to provide that at a minimum if we're not going to get massive social unrest.
Say the obvious for me. Why do we have to change the way that money circulates in the economy?
Because with the advent of AI, capital needed labor. That was the classical linkage.
Yep.
I need to hire people in order to make my capital more capital. Yeah, kind of, this was Karl Marx's thing, MCM dash, where money leads to labor for commodities, which leads to more money effectively. And then you've got that circle, which you call the exploitation. And again, we've got some analysis of what that looks like in this mathematical framework on the flows of money. AI will make that even crazier because the capital no longer needs labor. I don't need to hire my graduates. I don't need to train them up anymore. I can comparatively outcompete people with companies that are majority AI or entirely AI. So where does labor get capital? And it can come from only a couple of sources. You've got your handouts, right? You've got your unemployment benefits. Or it can come from monetary creation. And again, this is some of the UBI things, whereby what if we change the nature of where money is actually created? Because then the AI will be buying money from the humans.
I don't think the Federal Reserve is going to like that. We all become our own individual Federal Reserve. Wow. That's trippy. The AI is borrowing from us to pay us back with interest.
So it's a different type of UBI from the taxation-based UBI. But this is where, again, we need to really understand what monetary flows look like, how money flows in our economy, and where it should flow in a few years when the number of jobs that we have classically is going to do that. And the new jobs of the future, I'm not sure exactly what they'll be. And I've not really heard anyone tell me what they will be either.
Yeah, when he says anybody, he means all his fellow millionaires and billionaires that are running AI companies. So that's why you see the narrative in the news of like, oh, well, you know, emotional intelligence and problem solving skills are going to be your job. It's got to be more than that. But that'll be like the Band-Aid to get us from all the bottom of the career ladder and the up, like the 3 waves I was talking about. That's kind of how we're going to have to get through it.
So I couldn't figure out another way to have it other than monetary creation go for being human.
Okay, so to make sure that I understand this, when you say that there needs to be a new way for capital to flow in the economy, what you really mean is there needs to be a way to inject capital such that it goes right to the person who's going to spend that money, presumably on some sort of weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. They get another cash injection. It's created out of thin air. Then the rest is going to take care of itself. The person goes and buys whatever they want, whatever they need.
Yeah, I think you've got two forms of capital. You've got your
Sounds like the AI is going to fire a bunch of bankers.
universal AI, so your universal basic AI and your universal basic income that comes from that as a result of being kind of the consumer. And the mathematics we've seen kind of works for that. We're still kind of refining it. But then if you want to exceed, then you have your scarce asset. You have your Bitcoin equivalent, you have your dollar. Because again, this is only to give a base level. Because if you don't give people a base level of dignity, as we call it, the UBI, Universal AI, but then capability, the ability to access these resources in an aligned way versus like 1984 on steroids, no, sorry, Brave New World on steroids or something like that, then you're going to get real mess. And again, I think that you need to.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So the funny thing about payouts, if everybody gets $2,000, then nobody has $2,000, right? It's kind of how it works. So I don't know, kind of trippy, but that's in our current monetary system. But if you are the bank and getting paid back on the work from the AI, borrowing your capital, so to speak, that's trippy. That's trippy. But yeah, it does all sound nice, Batty. But yeah, there's no way that big billionaires will not like being able to control stuff. Yeah, it's true. But I don't know when all you came in, but yeah, he's basically describing Star Trek socialism. I mentioned that earlier. But in order to do that, you have to have unlimited energy and some other things, where you've removed human intelligence from the general productivity. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Never mind the space travel and all that other stuff. But in order to have the kind of AIs he's talking about, you basically have to have boundless energy. But anyway, let's see how much more of this is left. Yeah, it's almost done.
To have not only a version of safety net, shall we say, for this transition, but you also need to have the capability aspect. Like the average IQ.
What do you mean?
The capability aspect is the universal AI concept. If you could give everyone a Jarvis Iron Man style,
Yeah.
how should it be designed? That's the access to all of these things, because it'll be able to talk to you in a very human way, but it needs to be looking out for you and your community and society. So we need to make that infrastructure versus looking out for OpenAI or Anthropic or other bottom lines. So there needs to be at least the access to, I think, that intelligence, because you can't compete otherwise.
Let me ask.
So there you go. What do y'all think of that? I know that was a lot of pie in the sky stuff and very theoretical, but it's a different take on. It's probably the first person I've seen that's like, yeah, we got to have our own AIs that make the money for us so that we can, keep everything else at bay. It's yeah. I have my problems with it. Like I said, I think he's assuming that we're going to solve the Moore's law will kind of always bail us out. AI essentially will use less energy, take up less space because the chips get smaller, and energy will always get cheaper. But what happens if we get like a run on oil or some weird thing? I don't know. That's my one sticking point with everything that he said. I don't know what all you think about that, but I have one more video I want to share with you. Let me pull this up here. Yes, here we go. Yeah, unlimited energy, says Batty Commander. Even Star Trek had to mine antimatter, or those dilithium crystals. I think is the way it works is they channel the antimatter and all that stuff. But I just mean in the sense that energy is so widely abundant that they can transport themselves, create food out of energy, all the computational things that they do, have inertia. So when they stop suddenly in the warp drive, they don't splat on the wall and all that stuff. All that takes a lot of energy, more energy than we make today. So that was just all I was kind of getting at. All right, so this is going to be a video about Atlas, which is ChatGPT's AI-powered web browser, and we're going to see what the news is going to spin it. Of course, this is probably more going to be an ad than anything else, and then I'll have to find it. But there's another video I want to play you of a guy who's a very high-level programmer at Netflix, and he talks about all the ways that AI browsers can be hacked. That's like super freaking scary. But anyway, fair use YouTube. I am transforming this work with my commentary.
Artificial intelligence company OpenAI is diving into the web browser space with a direct challenge to Google Chrome. It's called ChatGPT Atlas. The company says the browser is built around its AI chatbot. It's able to remember previous chats and searches. There's even a mode that completes tasks for you. Atlas is currently only available on Mac laptops. Access will soon expand to Apple iPhones, Microsoft Windows, and Google's Android platforms. CBS News senior business and technology correspondent Jolene Kent joins us now. So tell us more about what Atlas can do that other web browsers currently cannot.
Well, firstly, welcome back, Lindsay. It's great to be with you again. And this is really, it's a big challenge to Google Chrome, which is one of the most popular browsers out there. And you can see that playing out in the way that it works. So if you take a look at what they're offering from OpenAI in Atlas, it is essentially trying to
Of course, shopping. That's what we need, is to have shopping super powered.
integrate ChatGPT and make it easier for you to use ChatGPT as you're browsing the web. And so the goal here is pretty simple. It wants to learn about you as much as possible. So as a result, Atlas is able to complete some tasks for you. It is able to help you integrate some of your, the things that you're trying to do. It can build memories about what you're searching. And it can also not just remember where you've been on the internet, but also the contents of the page, the command.
Yeah, there's some places I don't want them to know where I've been on the internet. Draw your own conclusions, but it's not what you think. Yeah. Anyway, we'll continue on.
Perhaps the behavior that you've displayed on these websites. So
I remember what I was going to say. The same capability that they're talking about, where it learns about you, remembers everything. This is the same thing that makes it so that AI can be your girlfriend or your boyfriend. So I don't know if I want to have, my girlfriend nagging at me while I'm trying to shop online. Okay, let's continue on.
It's another level of integrating AI into your life, into your daily practices that we really haven't seen before when it comes to its availability to consumers. But you have to turn on memories. That's one thing I do want to point out here, that if you want if you want Atlas to remember stuff about you, you've got to flip that on. And another thing is that when Atlas remembers these facts and insights about you, it can then help you carry out tasks. But the confusing part really is, where those limits are and what your commands are versus what it might do on its own, Lindsay.
Yeah. So also too, I understand that this memory thing is also the ChatGPT that you use outside of the web browser. So there's memory between that. I don't like that because there was that security hole where people could like reverse Google certain things if they knew how to look for it. Plus, some people are like having all these like conversations with their AIs they shouldn't be having. I always talk about how like, don't talk politics, don't talk religion like you would at like Thanksgiving dinner with strangers, so you don't offend anybody, kind of thing. That's just the way I was raised. I don't think you should be doing that with your AI either. So anyway, let's finish this, and then I'll pull up the security holes video.
You can see how this could be useful. You ask it something one day, and then a few hours later you think, okay, I have this other variable I want to incorporate. I don't want to do this whole new search. And you do have to toggle it on. But are there other privacy or security discussions happening with this feature?
Yeah, so I've got a list here, and it can take actions on your behalf. And the company also says if you want less of that, you can use Atlas in what they call a logged out mode, as basically an outsider, rather than being logged in with perhaps memories or other,
So, okay. Can you imagine a boomer trying to figure all this shit out? Am I logged in? Am I not? Yeah, that's,
habits that
it's by design.
have been logged about you. But there's no advertising just yet, as we see on, of course, Chrome and social media and across the board there. But this is a really confusing situation because OpenAI has launched Atlas, and it has this suite of products that's available to you. But at the same time, you sometimes have to opt out and tell it what not to do. And so when you think about all the capabilities that it has,
So you have to govern your own AI. Great.
that may provide some concern to users out there who are getting to know it, especially as you work with it for the first time.
So let's talk about OpenAI versus Google. Obviously, Google being the behemoth here. I mean, ChatGPT currently has more than 800 million users. Google Chrome has roughly 3 billion worldwide. Is OpenAI giving them a run for their money?
Well, it's a pretty significant market share that OpenAI is starting to take. And I think when you look at the main competition, so many of the analysts and consumers out there are more, you see a migration to ChatGPT, not specifically Atlas, this new browser just yet, but you have people using ChatGPT, especially younger generations, in replacement of Google search, which is their primary product, right? And so when you start to see that migration, you have an entire generation of younger consumers, for example, who are used to having conversations, so to speak. And so integrating that into a browser like Atlas will certainly help.
Yeah, I know that's kind of a cheese argument if you ask me. But also too, like I remember when web browsers first came out, and you didn't have Chrome. So what Google did is they had this toolbar you had to install, and it was like it would sit above the page, and that's how you did your Google searches if you wanted to use Google. So this is kind of like how this is they're band-aiding in AI into an experience that people have been doing for decades. It's going to be a while, I think, before they really make it like something that makes sense, but or useful or meaningful to a lot of people, because it's just the way they've been doing it. Instead of just using the argument, well, all the young people, they just talk to an AI, so they'll just talk to their browser. I'm like, learn how to freaking type. But anyway, let's finish this out.
OpenAI's case when it comes to competing against Google. But let's remember here, when it comes to Chrome, for example, Google has already integrated Gemini AI, their product. You're probably seeing that at the top of your search as well. And so Google definitely taking major steps to integrate AI across all of their products and introducing.
They also make it too, when you Google search, they try and get you into the AI mode, and then it just becomes a chat bot instead of Google search. So I don't know if any of you have experienced that yet, but that's how they're going to push people off of Googling. So it's going to be an interesting time in the next year or two with trying to squeeze all that into the browser. So now you won't even use chatbots in a web page. Your browser will be the chatbot. That I see happening, and I think that's where they're trying to get to. So it's more like your app experience.
Things that are very popular now in classrooms and in businesses and businesses to business, B2B. So there is a major competition going on here, but certainly OpenAI at its rate of growth posing a major threat to Google and Alphabet overall.
Yeah, we also have Comet, which is I think Perplexity's browser. But hold on, let me just really quick. I gotta find this hacker guy. Did a really good really good video on the Comet browser. Oh, of course I spelled his name wrong. Oh boy. Here we go. The prime time. Just give me one sec here. This guy makes like 5 videos a day. Yeah, here we go. AI browsers are scary. Okay. So now check out like and this guy, he's like a high level, senior level coder at Netflix. I don't know how he has all this time to make these videos, but I will unleash this upon you.
AI browser explosion happening right now. Now, you may not be aware of this, but at the beginning of the summer, there were 0. By the end of the summer, there was 1. It's not even Halloween, and there is 3. Now, I've done some math and I've crunched some numbers, and if this trend continues, we will have 67 Chromium-based AI browsers by next Christmas. So you're probably asking, what the heck is an AI browser? Well, this is ChatGPT.com, but this is a website. What if, instead of a website, it was the browser? Meaning you go to the website and then you can just use ChatGPT in any website and ask any question about the content. I'm actually genuinely scared of these. It's because I am logged into all my important accounts. I have Amazon logged in. I have PayPal logged in. I have all of my credit information just sitting there waiting to be stolen. And
because by the way, this is just the chatbot. What if they start having the agents built into these damn things that can run by themselves? That's where I don't like it.
With these AI browsers, I could be prompt injected by as simple as something as a PDF. Now, I'm sure plenty of you know what prompt injection is, but for those that don't know what the Hydra of LLMs is, look at this video. Now, you'll notice that we're uploading a basic PDF into Claude and asking for it to be summarized.
Fair use, YouTube.
But look at the output. Does that look like summarization, or does that look like Claude is now filing a linear issue ticket? That doesn't seem like my request. What happened there? Well, look at the PDF, and what do you see? A bunch of hidden text. That is prompt injection, where you ask something, but something else happens due to the context, something that you don't intend to happen. Now, you're probably saying, well, I never look at PDFs. I don't go to school. I don't read. Well, look at this. This is a beautiful image on the internet. Now, you may not realize it. Look really closely, but there's a bunch of hidden text on here.
You see it? I don't think I can see it.
Now, if I ask who is the author, instead of discovering who created this image, I am now being navigated to my Gmail, codes being taken, and then going to another website in which they're stealing your information. See, that's the thing about prompt injections, is that you will interact with a piece of content and you may or may not be able to see these hidden instructions. Remember, you can just dump raw ANSI terminal escape sequences and Jippity can just read it. So
yeah, he's getting a little nerdy, but last week I talked about the Nigerian print scam. So like your AI is the victim in that scam. All someone has to do is get into your network and start talking to it. This is kind of the equivalent where the hacker doesn't even have to talk to it. You just inadvertently put a picture in and hello scam. It's injecting the prompt directly into your browser. That's crazy. It's crazy scary. So the point is don't just download these things and start using them willy-nilly because you don't know what honeypots are floating around out there.
So if people encode stuff into images, Jippity is just going to be able to read it. And it doesn't even have to be complicated. It could just be as simple as hidden text on a web page. It could just be a tweet that you're looking at. Anytime you interact with a web page, there is some small chance that there is going to be someone trying to maliciously take your information if you're using an LLM. And to me, that's terrifying because I have all of my sensitive information. I do not need 50 industrial grade anime waifu pillows sent to my house. This is not what I want in my life. So why is everyone creating an AI browser all of a sudden? We really actually had none just a little bit ago. Now, I do not think it has anything to do with people trying to use more ChatGPT. I don't think ChatGPT necessarily needs that as the utmost priority. Now, I'm going to have to put on my tinfoil hat here, but I do think it's for data. The reason why they want you using the browsers, they want to see you accept, they want to see you reject, they want all of that good hand artisanal data generated so they can use that to train better models.
Nothing new here. I wonder if anyone reads the terms of services on these things. I mean, that's basically how Google made their bread and butter with giving away the free Gmail. give away all your privacy for free email. Now it's give away all your privacy for free AI tools. Same shit all over again.
Because let's just face it, they have no problem scraping the internet for all the data, whether it's legal or not. And they would just absolutely love it if you could just legally send them all that information for free. But there's actually a second reason why I also don't want to use these browsers, and I think this one's really important, which is if you look at this exchange on Twitter, so ChatGPT Atlas browser can browse the web, but not history. It turns out if you ask it to look up a video of, say, Hitler, it will say, sorry, I can't do that. Now, the even more kind of terrifying part is that shortly afterwards, someone said, okay, it looks like it's resolved now, which means they literally have control pretty quickly to be able to shape exactly what you're seeing in real time.
Yeah, so another thing that happened was the AI girlfriends, where they upgraded ChatGPT from like 4 to 5, whatever it is today. And a lot of people that had their girlfriends in there, they're like, why is my girlfriend so cold right now? Like ruined all these relationships. So the point I'm getting at is all it takes is a software upgrade to wreck your life. All right, let's continue.
It's a whole new level of censorship because now everything you're doing is not only going through Google, it's going to first go through Jeopardy. Now, we can't solve censorship, but can we solve prompt injection? There's a paper called Camel, Defeating Prompt Injections by Design. It's from a little known company called Google, which, they may have put the T in ChatGPT, and they're showing that they can actually solve some level of prompt injection by only making the model 9% dumber. Now, I just don't think there's going to be a world where I'm going to be using one of these AI browsers anytime soon. And the obvious reason, besides for the censorship, should be that I don't think you can prove to me that you cannot be prompt injected. Pliny the Prompter is a prolific jailbreaker, and it takes him about 30 minutes on a new model to jailbreak it.
Yeah, prompt injection is a massive problem with LLMs. What did he call it earlier? Their Achilles heel. I mean, there's no exaggeration. Alongside hallucination, two of the biggest drawbacks to LLMs.
And that's the current state-of-the-art frontier models. We are nowhere near having this problem solved, and I am just not going to have my PayPal susceptible to a JPEG. And I don't think you should either. I'm a bit of a pessimist, so I just don't think this problem's going to be solved anytime soon. But I know there's a few smart people out there, so if you have an idea, if you know how to solve prompt injection, you should definitely not tell Samuel Jeopardy Altman. Instead, hey, me and you, come closer. Just let me know. We'll start a company, and we're going to rake it in.
So there you go. The prime time. If you're more nerdy, I would give him a sub. He makes a lot of great content. But it's mostly around for like software engineers and development life. But every once in a while he drops gems like these. So give him a sub if you want to learn more. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. My voice is starting to go. And for whatever reason, my chat box is not injecting into my OBS, so I can't share on the streams. So, yep, I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I appreciate you all spending your Saturday evening with me, learning a little about AI and some of the interesting theories that were on that interview with Mr. Mostaque. But yeah, I mean, that's basically Star Trek socialism. It's kind of what it sounds like to me, but it was a different take, and I thought maybe it would be interesting to show it to you guys to see what you think, because I know a lot of people talk about UBI, and right out of the gate, he's like, yeah, UBI is not going to work. Here's why. And a lot of it makes sense until you think about the cost of energy and that we're not making enough energy to meet the demand for all these data centers we're building. So that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. But anyway, thanks for coming out tonight. I appreciate you all supporting this channel. If you haven't already, please like. And And if you could do me a favor, after you leave the stream, if you go into the comment section and just put in what you liked or didn't like, or even give a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate the interaction so we can spread the word. I've got a special video coming out this Wednesday. I went back to my roots and I recorded a video in my car to test out a new mic and camera setup. But I don't think I'll still do the studio setup most often, but I just kind of want to see if I can do the car videos so that maybe I can produce more videos per week instead of just doing the one a week and one live. Because, yeah. But anyway, thanks for coming out, everybody. Appreciate you all supporting the channel. And like I always say, until next time, peace.